What's going on, YouTube? Zero Lead here, and I'm back again with a new video. Episode 58 of the Disco Era U.S.S. Enterprise tutorial. I just want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's video, and if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And today we got a bunch of things to work on, a 27-minute video today, and we're going to be working on our doorways for our corridors. We're also going to be working on the turbo lift, the bridge turbo lift, but going downwards towards the bottom of the saucer. We want to get the ladder built out for that, and then we're going to continue our entryways into sick bay. So we want to get a lot of these doorways done on our circle corridor, and then we're going to go to the outside. We're going to work on some ship details on the saucer. We're going to add the registration number along the engines, and then we're going to rework the stripe on the engines as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Definitely a lot to cover today. And I'm in the smaller circle corridor, and you can see I'm at the entrance to sick bay, so I'm just adding gray pillars on each side. So it matches the other side. And then right behind that, we're going to do a row of red. Not going to do that right now. I'm going to wait. We're going to pan back around to do the inside, but right now we're just going to do the outside. And you can see I'm going all the way around sick bay. I'm hitting all four of the entryway points. We're moving on to the next one. And just continuing the same pattern on. We're going to bang this out. And like I said, a lot of stuff to cover today. This is one of my previously recorded videos, so if there's any dark portions in this video, I do apologize ahead of time. I'm trying to convert these videos in 1080p, so I hope that helps. But I promise any new recording sessions that I do, I will be doing that with extra sea lanterns for you guys. Yesterday's episode was a brand new recording session, but that just came out so well, I just wanted to put that out. But we've got a lot of stuff to cover today, and you see I'm just working my way around to all of my entryway points in my corridors. I'm kind of hopping back and forth between the inner and outer corridor, but it doesn't really matter which one we're in, so if you're not certain which one I'm at, that's okay. The main point here is that every single entryway point should look exactly the same, whether it's an inner or outer corridor. So just your ship is keeping consistent with that pattern of the dark gray, the red, and then the white. The only exception to that is going to be sick bay. There'll be dark gray, the red, and then blue. Still have a little bit of work to do in here on the floor. We're not going to cover in this episode, but we will be going back to changing the floor in the circular corridors to the darker gray to match the rest of the ship. And a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory, shouldn't be too hard, but for whatever reason, if you get stuck during this tutorial, or if you have any questions, drop a comment below. I'm usually pretty responsive in the comment section, and I'll try to help you out. For whatever reason, if I don't understand you, or if I misunderstand you, I apologize in advance. Sometimes when you're sending messages, people can read it the wrong way, so I apologize for that, but I do like to go through, and I try my best to help everybody. So if you have any questions, definitely drop them below. If there's any builds that you guys want to see me do, drop a comment below. If there is anything specifically that you would like to see me do with this ship, hey, drop a comment, because I've got a couple of different user-submitted requests on stuff that you guys would like to see me add for this ship, and I intend to deliver. One of them was from yesterday's episode, was the Starship Brig. Next, well, it won't be next, but coming up soon will be the crew mess hall. We'll be adding that, and I've also got the crew quarters. That will be a lot of fun. And then we've also got to do the bowling alley. We've got to work on our engineering bay. We've got to do our torpedo room. So we've definitely got some stuff to cover, but if I'm missing anything, Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys. And you can see I'm just kind of working my way around. We are back in our main hallway that leads either to the bridge turbo lift or to the medical bay. You can see I'm just adding 3 pillars going up to go with our doorways, because we want to have that pillar in the middle, because that's going to give the impression that there's automatic doors. So even if we don't add them in certain areas, it's going to look like in every single entryway point, they're all going to match, which is pretty much what we're going with. So we're moving on here, and I'm getting a lot done today. If you're not able to do this at the same pace, that's okay. Feel free to pause the video and come back to it. But I'm now in our turbo lift going up to the bridge. You can see I'm just building downward, prepping ahead for stuff that we'll be doing in later episodes. We're just going to build the ladder going all the way down. We're not going to build out the rest of the turbo lift in this episode. Just getting a little bit of prep work done here and there. But perfect, it goes all the way up and down just how we want. I may at some point add the captain's wheel room underneath, directly underneath where we are right now, because that's how it is on my other Enterprise. But if you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments section. Now we're going to move right on to fixing our doorways into the medical bay. So now we're doing a row of red, which is right after the gray. So this is matching the rest of the pattern with our ship. You want to make sure to do that red stripe across as well. We got one more to do. So when you look from doorway to doorway, they match. Looking great. Now we're going to switch to the blue, and we're going to do 3 pillars high, 1 back from the red. Then we're going to do a blue strip going across the top. Eventually we'll close off that side. We're going to rework that in the next couple of future episodes. But right now, let's get the rest of our doorways done in the medical bay. One of the things I'm trying to do for you guys, and this is still a learning experience for me, because this is the first full-scale tutorial that I've done, and prior to this, the only thing I've done is the mock tutorial. And I've learned a lot from doing this tutorial for you guys. And one of the things, just for me, what I want to try to do in the future, there's nothing I can do about the stuff that I pre-recorded, but as much as I can going forward, I want to build stuff out as much as I can before moving on from it, like as far as the interior goes. And I want to do that in the future. Yesterday's episode was a great example. When we built the brig, we did that in 1 episode. And that's kind of how I want to keep it, or if it's going to be 2 episodes, but regardless, they'll stay right together. You're not going to see too much of that for the next probably 10 or so episodes, but after that, I would say that it's going to be a lot more consistent, because now we're starting to get into the territory of catching up to what I've done on the interior of the ship, and I'll be able to move on and start recording new sessions to wrap up this build, and then move on to the next build, which is going to be the Enterprise D or Voyager. I've been hearing your comments for ships that you guys want to see me build. Make sure to keep those comments coming, because I'm not going to be working on Voyager and the Enterprise D forever. There's going to be other ships that I'm going to be doing, and my goal is to keep these videos going for you guys. I have a lot of fun doing these builds, and you guys seem to really enjoy them, so I'm going to keep it going. So anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's continue on here. We still have 20 minutes of video to cover, and I'm already knowing I'm blowing up our recording time here. So you can see right now I'm looking at these kind of like, you can't really see it in the picture here, but they're like little brass strips of detail going along the line of the saucer. And this is really what I'm wanting to add right now. And I've said this to you guys in the past, look for these details to help bring your ship to life, because this is what's going to set your ship apart from everybody else's. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in on outside of our saucer, and we're going to grab kind of like the closest that we can get to bronze, and we're going to add in these blocks on the side. See, I'm looking at the deflector dish to see what color I grabbed. This is the red terracotta. That looked good, but maybe regular terracotta would be better. fact, we're still going to grab the red terracotta, and we'll grab the light gray. Yeah, so that matches, so let's go up here. So I think that's about as close to the bronze as we can get between those three colors there. And I'm literally building this off of the middle line here, our hull line. That's how I decided to do, that's how I came to the decision to do that. So this is how you guys can line that up. I did that kind of quick, but that's really how I did it. I just lined it up with the hull line, and that's my middle point right there. And then I added a block on each side. So we're going to do that on every single corner. We're going to do that on the top and bottom. So now in the middle right here, get a little bit of pixelation there. I'm sorry about that. It happens every once in a while when I'm doing my capturing. I apologize for that. I try to make sure that when I'm doing any type of streaming and recording, I don't have anything else going on my computer, so that my computer can focus on this, give as much CPU dedicated to my streaming sessions, and for the most part, it goes pretty good. And as I go and the channel grows, I'll be definitely upgrading the stuff that I'm using now, but I don't think what I'm using now really is that bad. I think for the most part, it comes out pretty good, with the exception of when I'm in the really dark areas. And then we're going to get rid of that extra row underneath because we only want one for right now. Got two more to do. And I actually really like adding this strip of copper because I feel like this gives the ship a little bit more of a sense of age to it. And the outside of it isn't all bright in colors like the inside of the ship. So this is kind of like the closest thing to weathering that we can really get on Minecraft, kind of. And it doesn't look like much right now, but we're going to add in another strip underneath, and I think that's really going to help make the ship pop. I'm going to go back to our screenshot here. I want to check out again what I got going on. You can see that there's two strips. So now we're going to pop into the next part of our recording session, and now we're going to add our second strip. So we're going to go one line below our dark gray line. And just want to make sure that's perfectly matched up with the line with the bronze strip above it, or copper. Same thing. All right. And this doesn't seem like that much right now, but I'm telling you, just think of it as a process, you know, kind of like how we've done this whole ship. Not one of these changes that we're making is going to be a game changer. But as we've been going on from episode 1 now all the way we're up to episode 58, gosh, you know, time flies when you're having fun. But regardless, all these changes that we're making, subtle changes together, we end up with something like this. And I think that, you know, this is a case that separates the boys from the men and the girls from the women. When you're adding in your detail, you have that eagle eye. And I'm sure there's things that I haven't caught. And if there are details that I can add on the outside of my ship, hey, that's another chance. You know, drop comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Because, you know, a lot of stuff when I'm making these videos, believe it or not, I read the comment section. I read everything that you guys send to me. And I try to incorporate what you guys want to see in my builds as much as I possibly can. So I definitely take that stuff into consideration on top of, you know, the stuff that I can get passionate about doing. Because at the end of the day, you have to enjoy what you're doing, and if it's something that you're not, excited about or anxious to do, and it's not going to come out as good. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely always take that into consideration on your builds, because I think that's one of the reasons why this Enterprise has come out so good, because Star Trek has always had a special place in my heart. And anytime, especially right now, everything going on, I put on Star Trek and it can help me just forget about everything. And I just focus on this and I focus on my builds, and it's a great reliever. But I think those changes that we made there, I think that steps it up a notch a little bit for sure. We're going to hop into the next portion of our build here. Forgot that we have just a little bit of detail to do on the outside of our shuttle bay. We're going to add 2 rows of red, and then on the right side, we're going to do 2 rows of green just to match the ship. Kind of like the running lights for landing. And now we're going to move on to the main event of this video, which is the registration number along the engines, and then reworking this stripe. So I want to rewind just a little bit so you guys can get a gauge of where I'm at. So we are on the last cut in before the engines just go straight back. So we're right here on the right side, but we're on the left. So from this point back is where we're going to start building from, just to give you guys some perspective. The best thing to do is just to build out from the outside. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. I want to rework this stripe just a little bit. So I'm only going, that first part is only 3 wide, and then we're taking out a row. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this part, but I would still follow this just because this is the step that I took, and this will keep you consistent with what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to say is what you could do in this case is just start with the darker gray strips like we're going to in a minute, or excuse me, the darker gray blocks, and we're just going to write on the outside of the hull. And any changes that we want to make, we'll just delete those blocks and add back to it. And I'm not going to call out the placement on these because these are only a couple of wide. If you need to rewind it, feel free to rewind it. But at this point, pretty simple pattern what we're doing. We're just spelling out NCC, and then we're doing a dash, and then we're going to do 1701. Trying not to go over 3 wide or 3 high. You want to stay consistent as much as you can. In fact, what we could have done with that 0 there, just to keep it from looking like a plus sign, is just make a square. I think that might look a little bit better, actually. And I'm doing this light blue, and I'm counting this out so you guys can get an idea of how many blocks exactly this is. I'm trying to do this slow for you guys in this video. This side is really the easy part, but it's the other side that will be hard. But there's a way to do it, and I'm going to show you guys how to cover that. So let's go over to the right side engine. So you can see I'm building here in the hull because I know I'm going to end with a 1. And then the 0. I'm just building this on the inside of the hull now because I know that I'm not going to make any changes. Now, if you really wanted to and you weren't that good, what you could do is that blue strip that I added on the other side, count that out so you know how many far back you're going. You're essentially making a ruler guideline for yourself to make sure that this side matches what you're doing on the other side, basically. It looks like I might have went either one high, too high on this side, or I'm moving it down. I forget how high we had it on the left side, but regardless, if it is one high on the left, we're going to be moving it down to match this side. Don't worry about the red stripe right now. We just want to worry about getting the NCC spelled out and then filling in the gray around it. So it's not really that much to it. You're literally just, spelling it backwards. That's pretty much all it is. That's the only method to it. This red here, that's in between the letters. We're going to take that out in just a moment. Let's finish spelling out our NCC. Okay. We're going to get rid of the blocks. Any of the red that's connecting with the NCC. Oh, I took out one of the darker grays. We have to fix that. And we're starting to wind it down here. We're moving into the last 8 minutes of the video. Time flies when you're having fun. We had a 27 long video when we started. We're already down to the last 8. Can't believe we've flown by this episode this quickly. And see, that looks pretty good. The only change that I would make to this at this point is to make this 0 more into a box, because it just, I don't know, it looks like a plus sign to me, and that it just kind of bothers me with how it currently looks. But other than that, the only thing we really need to make a change to is the stripe. I don't recall if I make the change to that 0 now or later, but I know that I do make that change to it, because it's going to bother me until I change it. So we're just going to go back 1 and take 1 away from the bottom. Kind of give it like a progression, so it looks like it should be connected to the other side, but it's kind of like split apart by the NCC and the 1701. That looks pretty good. Only other thing that we really need to do here is fill in this gray line. I think having just a red stripe right here is appropriate. I think it would look pretty good. All right, so we got that knocked out. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side, and then we have to get the left engine done. We are moving along here. I can't believe I've actually gotten this far on the Enterprise. I was really questioning whether or not I would be able to pull this off, and I'm pretty impressed that I was able to do this. But like I said, there were still some things that I think that I could have done better in some of the episodes, particularly with the interior. And I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. Everybody makes them, including me. No better than anybody. And there's plenty of people that are better than me, especially at this game. But I do try to learn. And I think, like I said, we won't see it that much for the next 10 episodes probably, because I still have a little bit of pre-recorded videos left to upload for you guys. But once we start to get into a point where I'm any new video sessions, I really want to try to dedicate to once I start an area on the inside of the ships to finish it, just so I'm not jumping back and forth like I was before. Um, so you can see we're on the, going back in what I got going on here, we shifted back over to the left engine, and now we're just literally repeating the same process that we did on the right side, but on the left side. So now we're getting rid of the extra pinstripe right behind our NCC, and then we're going to move our lettering from the outside of the hull and actually write it on the inside. All right, we are moving right along. We're going to move on to the 1701 now. And this is odd. I don't see a lot of people that they write NCC 1701 going along the engines. I don't understand why, because that's a thing that's on the ship. And we just have to make an adjustment to our pinstripes. That looks great, aside from that rink-dink 0, but we're going to fix that later on. We want to make sure that we do the same thing that we have on the left side. So this bottom one, we're going to get rid of that. So this way it looks like both stripes could be connected, and then we're going to get rid of the gray in between the stripe. All right, now we just got to bang out the front. Oh, I took out an extra block. Let's fix that, and now we're just going to get rid of the rest of the white in the middle, and now we're going to replace it with the red. And now let's take a zoom out, and we're going to pan around and take a look at this thing. Now you might be thinking that red stripe is maybe too thick, and you know, you could be very well right that maybe it is one too thick, but I think that if we took one away, it's not going to match with the size of the NCC, and it's going to be offset. So what we're forced with at that point is either we're going with a stripe that's one block thick, or it's 3. I think in this case, making it 3 is just the way to go, maybe. But you know what? Let's take out this top row here and see how it looks. But I feel that that could be a thing. I think it might be offset if it's higher by 1, maybe. Oh, I go with cut. Fix that. Perfect. All right, let's check that out. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I'm going to fix the angle here, make it match like it was before. That might be enough. Just double check and make sure what I have matches. And hey, if you don't agree with that, if you think that should have been 3 wide, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Definitely love hearing feedback regarding my builds. And I think that this will work a little bit better than what we had. I think with the 3 high, I mean, yeah, it does kind of offset the NCC just a little bit, but at the same time, it just, that stripe is just way too big with it being 3 high. It almost to the point where it's like a billboard, and that's not what we want. We just want like a subtle pinstripe going along just to highlight the engine and the NCC. But I mean, that doesn't look too bad. I could probably leave it just like that and get away with it. I don't think anyone will bat an eye at it. I think I'm just splitting hairs at this point. But she is definitely coming along. I'm actually very impressed with the level of detail I was able to pull out of this specific build. I think that this is turning into the best Enterprise that I've done yet. Anyway, guys and ladies, I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. I just want to thank you again for tuning into today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop a comment below. If you're stuck on something, let me know. If I'm not being specific enough, I'll try to help you out. If there's any builds that you guys want to see me do, drop a comment below. I'll try to if it's something I can get passionate about, you never know, I might build it. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for episode 59. And in fact, you can always catch new Minecraft episodes Tuesdays through Fridays. And then don't forget, on Mondays, I have my new Starship Evo builds. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. Just want to thank you again for tuning into today's video. Hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and I'll catch you on the next video.